me and Jason are coming to you tonight for Corvette Weekly. So him and I are we're Vette Syndicate tonight. We're missing Steve, which is unfortunate, but he is out doing, God's work. But no, what is he doing? Something with his HOA, which is super important stuff. So yeah. Anyway, let's see what we got here. I'm gonna get the chat back up. But guys, if you didn't hear, this is the 96th episode, so we have 4 episodes left until we hit that big 100, which is really awesome. So thank you guys for sticking in there. This is all being done because of you. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it as much as we are. Like I've said before, we all enjoy bringing this to you. Obviously, even fighting through the internet connection issues, which seems to happen way more than it should. It still is a good time. So yeah, if you guys are liking it, do one of these things. Hit that thumbs up button and let us know you're liking it so we know that you're liking it. But this is what it looks like in case you're wondering. Thumbs ups. J.R. Griffith, no. I do not mean he's driving his car. He is driving a car, but not his car. So, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, guys, we're going to be talking a lot about the ZR1 tonight, the C8 Corvette ZR1. If you guys didn't see it, I put out a video just a couple days ago talking about the ZR1 in relatively great detail. We're going to talk more about some of the spy shot images tonight that were recently taken that show a lot of information that we haven't really had confirmation of in the past. So we're going to get into that, but we also want to talk a lot about the giveaways, the giveaway that we're doing tonight. And also we have a new C8 Corvette giveaway. So you guys know already about the C8 Corvette Z06 giveaway that we had going. It obviously was a beneficial to MS Solutions. And actually, I'm going to pull that up here now. Give me 1 second. So here we go. So if you guys haven't seen this yet, you can win this C8 Corvette Z06 plus $20,000. And obviously, even if you don't win, the benefits are going to go to MS Solutions for obviously multiple sclerosis. So even if you're not winning, you're still doing good things. We've talked about this a couple times. That the link in the description down below will actually get you 25% more entries per purchase. As you can see here on the screen, one of them is $25, which will give you 18 tickets, but you'll get 5 extra just by using that link in the description down below. Now, this is awesome. This is a really, really good thing. The Z06 is an awesome car. You could possibly win it here. But what's even better is now we've partnered up with another company to also give away an E-RAY. So if you guys are interested in getting an E-RAY instead, the link is also in the description. One will say Z06, one will say E-RAY. You click it, you still get that same thing. You get those extra entries just for using the link in the description down below. Now, this is obviously a different company. It's the International Motor Racing Research Center. So it still benefits a charity outside of, your money's not just basically disappearing if you don't win. It is still beneficial to some of these companies that will, they're good for us. So if you guys like the idea of winning one of these cars, you can choose to win the E-Ray if you guys are really into that, or like I said, the Z06. Either way, check out the description down below. Click on those links, get your extra 25%. And yeah, like I said, worst case scenario, especially with the MS Solutions one, if you don't win anything, you can actually write that stuff off because it is a charitable donation. So you guys might be asking by now, hey, where's Steve? Well, Steve's, like I said, he's out doing HOA stuff, so it's just me and Jason tonight. So anyway, guys, check out the description down below if you want to try to win a C8 Z06 or a C8 E-Ray. We're partnered up and giving away both of those things. So check out the links in the description. For tonight, the giveaway we're going to have going tonight that you guys are going to want to jump in on is going to be the carbon fiber waterfall cover again. So tonight is sponsored by EOS or Extreme Online Store. This is a 100% carbon fiber, so carbon fiber through and through, and it basically just sticks on over top of your waterfall in your C8 Corvette Z06, Stingray, E-Ray. Either way,
gonna want to get in on this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's definitely.
First
This is it.
one.
It's got his name all over it. All right, so Yeah. So if your guys are interested, the same kind of giveaway as usual. Every $10 is an entry. Every $100 is going to be double entries. We did something different last week and it kind of worked. So maybe we'll do that again, actually. $10 is an entry, $50 is double entries, 100 is triple entries, 150 is quadruple entries, and 200 is 5 times entries. So this part here, as you guys can see, is worth about $430 before tax and before shipping. So after those two things, you're right about 500 bucks. So if you want to get in on the carbon fiber craze, which everybody is crazy about, including myself, we are paying for this product though, so we have to make at least $600 to give this away. So if you guys want to get in on it, 600 bucks will be the key number. We're going to be giving this away tonight if we hit 600. And like I said, you guys could win this for as little as $10 donated. So check that out, as well as the description down below for the ability to win a Z06 or an E-RAY if you don't have one. And then you can have that waterfall cover to put on it, you know? So first donation of the night comes from DBM Racing. We're obviously very familiar with his name at this point. He throws 100 bucks at it. And yeah, his car will look really good with it.
How many is that?
That is going to be 3 times entries, so 30 entries.
30.
So thank you, David. Definitely appreciate it. Guys, yes, if you want to get entered, sooner the better, because we have to hit 600 for this. We are paying for this product, and we got to make something on it. So if you want to get in on it, every $100 is triple entries, and the product's worth 500 bucks. So you might as well throw something at it. But anyway, like I said, the description down below will also allow you to win a Corvette Z06 or E-RAY. And yeah, I did see that. That was a little bit ago here. Corvette Forever, Brian says, welcome back, Justin. Thank you, Brian. Sorry I didn't get that right away, but it was, we were trying to fight through a couple different issues real quick. So we appreciate it for sure. Thank you. Okay, so we got another one here. Looks like Larry Anthony. Larry Anthony, I didn't even see him in here.
LA, yes, he's in there.
Is he quiet in here? He came in silently?
I talked to him.
Oh, okay. Again, I was super busy trying to get this thing to work. So thanks, Larry. He donates $100, so he gets 3 times entries as well.
Okay.
Matt Hurley, who I'm pretty sure already has one of these.
Well, but on his last one.
Oh, that's true. So you might need one for the new car. He donates $100. So we're up to $300 already, guys. We need 300 more to give this thing away. Half the work is already done. So while we're waiting on some more donations, guys, if you could also smash that thumbs up button. It helps the channel. Let's hit 200 again like we did last time. We are obviously, even though the time doesn't suggest it, we're only 14 minutes into this particular video. So let's smash that thumbs up button. Let's get some subscriptions happening. All the good stuff. Let's hit 200 again tonight. Why not? Yeah, guys, Venmo is where you want to be with it. Pinned at the top of the chat, the very top, it's just a link. If you click on the link, it takes you right where you need to be, and you can make the donation right from there. You can do it through Super Chat if you really have to, but Venmo is the preferred way just because YouTube doesn't take a giant percentage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Hurley says that he had it, but he sold his Z06 and left it in there. Needs one for his future E-RAY. Matt, check out the description down below, man. You might be able to win an E-RAY. You might not even have to buy one. Oh, nice. Brian says his game modding generated the money that he donated. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Vet Father says, do you think the new ZR1 will gap me? Honestly, if the rumors are to be believed on the ZR1, that car is going to be absolutely insane. And we're going to talk, I'm going to get into that in 1 second. The majority of this upload is going to be about the C8 ZR1. So just bear with me while we get through the formalities here. But yeah, 2020 Matrix 8 says every C8 needs the carbon fiber waterfall and speaker grill cover.
Agreed.
This is just the waterfall. The speaker grill is on the top. No, this isn't even the speaker grill.
Yeah, the speaker grills are ones on the doors, and yes, I agree. I just put those on my C8 2 weeks ago.
DBM says, let's go on this giveaway. Daddy needs more carbon fiber. That is spoken like a true addict, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Carbon fiber, it is easy to become a carbon fiber addict. I mean, there's worse things to be addicts of, I guess.
Yeah, and check your Venmo from Jeremy. And also, I got 2 giant boxes of carbon fiber right here, so I'm excited.
Okay, so we got $50 from Jamie. So that puts us at,
how many is that?
50 is 2 times entry, so he would get
20.
20.
But and didn't Jeremy also? Oh no, he was just commenting. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamie.
So we're at 350, guys. We need 250 more to give this thing away tonight. Doing pretty well so far. Smash the thumbs up button while we're at it. That'll definitely help out. Does Venmo support PayPal? PayPal actually owns Venmo from what I understand, but my particular PayPal account takes out a huge fee as well, so I don't use PayPal too much. You know, Jack Vac, I'm starting to think that, because like I swear to God, I'm on the internet setting up stuff for this live video, doing the research on what we're going to talk about and everything. I'm doing this all day. I'm on the internet all day. Then as soon as 7:30 hits, all of a sudden my internet connection is no good. Like it makes no sense to me. Like I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to understand what's going on, but
Yeah.
something's up. GM doesn't like how close we are on the information on the ZR1, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, Kerry Glock said that too. He says GM doesn't want the info going out tonight. So yeah, guys, Steve is obviously gone. He's here in obviously in chat form. God forbid he would miss that. But yeah. I wanted to test out I have a new button on my keyboard that I can press that will immediately mute him. I don't have one for Jason because Jason doesn't usually get out of control too much. But this button basically I could put a little post-it on it that just says Steve. And when I press it, you can't hear him anymore. I am mostly joking, but
mostly joking.
All right, so let's see. Again, guys, the giveaway for tonight, if you are just joining us, is the carbon fiber waterfall console cover from EOS. Perfect, real carbon fiber. This is not fake. Real carbon through and through. Worth about $500 after tax and shipping. Every $10 is a donation. $50 is double entries. $100 is triple. $150 is quadruple. And $200 is 5 times entries. So basically, if you donate $200, you are really, really likely to win this thing. So, anyway, let's talk a little bit about the ZR1. So if you guys didn't see my video from a couple days ago, I put out a video talking about the ZR1 and talking all about the details of it. What's this?
I just was showing everybody, you got, I can't read it backwards, DBM 30, Glass City, Jamie 20, Larry A 30, and Matt Hurley 30. There you go. That's where everybody's at right now.
Yeah. Let me, I'll see if I can copy and paste it here to you. I'm going to paste the Venmo link, guys. If you need to click on that, you should be able to just touch right on that. It'll take you straight to Venmo to make a donation. By the way, how is your car running, Vet Father? We haven't talked in a while about it, but while we wait for that, let's talk about the ZR1. I know you guys are all here for that information, and if you guys didn't see the video that I did the other day, you should definitely check that out after this. But what ultimately we got was some spy shots of the car. Now these are obviously the C8 ZR1s. They're on the street over in California. GM likes to test their cars over there. I'm assuming because of winding roads, but it might have something to do with sea level and whether or not, you know, the cars are going to be okay at certain sea levels and everything. But what we really got here out of these spy shots, outside of just the fact that we're seeing 4 different ZR1s, is there's a lot of information to be confirmed and a lot of information to be questioned. So actually, before we do, here we got another donation. Vet Father donates $10. Johnny Vincent donates $10. Nope, that's one. Vincent. Okay, and let's see.
$100, not 30, but 30 is the amount of entries. $100 is the donation. So I just wanted to
Yeah,
let him know that's why it said 30, not 100.
gotcha. Okay. So anyway, we're talking about the ZR1. So if you guys are looking at these pictures here, um, no, the ZR1 is not going to be more than 1,000 horsepower. That was one thing. If the rumors are to be believed, the car is going to be around 850. And if I had to guess, just for argument's sake, I would not put it past GM to make this car 815. There's for some reason that number stands out in my head as being something more realistic than 850. So there's been a lot of rumors at this point, a lot of people that have seen the car in person, and almost all of them say the same thing. It is obviously a V8 engine with 2 twin turbos. That's what everybody seems to be able to agree on. As to whether or not it's a flat plane crank, a cross plane crank, a 6.2, or a 5.5, those are the things that are up in the air. For me, I am relatively sold on the fact that it is a 6.2 liter cross plane crank twin turbocharged engine. The displacement could be played with. They could take it from 6.2 down to 5.5. And if they do that, that's fine, but that doesn't mean it's a cross or a flat plane crank. That's very likely still going to be a cross plane crank at that power level. It's really hard to make a reliable flat plane crank engine at a high displacement like 5.5 liters. If you come down on that to like 4 or under, then reliability comes back up. So that could happen, but nobody's talking about that. So I don't think that that's going to be the case. Yeah, so Corvette guy, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking 815. Now, the original leaks for the ZR1, I mean, we're talking, these leaks came out before the Stingray was even out. They have been saying 850 since that day. So these numbers could absolutely be adjusted. I'm thinking 815. And even at 815 though, that is an insane that is an insane amount of horsepower. Yeah, 4.2 with a twin turbo flat plane, that would be more so in the realm of possibility. 5.5 it's just for reliability issues, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, so Michael McCurry donates $50, so he gets 10 entries. Kevin Horan's in for $10. Yep. J.R. Griffith is in for 25. So that's in the middle of 2 and 3 entries, so we'll just give him 3. And then that leaves us at a total so far of 455. So we need $145 more to give this thing away tonight, guys. You guys are killing it. Keep it up. Also, smash the thumbs up button because our guy that's usually talking about that isn't in here tonight for some reason. So if you guys could please smash the thumbs ups. Let us know you're liking the content. But anyway, let's keep going on with the ZR1 here because 815 is where I'm at horsepower wise. I'm thinking between 5.5 and 6.2 liter cross plane crank twin turbocharged engine. But ultimately what we're really looking at in these pictures today, what's really being confirmed, or I guess, somewhat showing off in person here, is if you look at these 4 ZR1s sitting here, only 2 of them have a Z07 wing. The other 2 in the back have a Z06 wing, which up until we saw these spy shots, we didn't even know that was going to be a possibility. All we had seen up until this spy shot was the big ZTK wing or the Z07 wing. We haven't seen just the regular Z06 wing on a ZR1 yet. Now, these cars are also not all sporting dive planes. So if we look at that one, it's the closest to the camera on the picture here, there's no dive planes on that one, but the one beside it, there is dive planes on. All of them, however, have the hood scoop on the front, which tells us they're all ZR1s because the Z06 and the E-RAY and the Stingray don't have that. So this has to be a new model. So this is very interesting to me. Now, um, the uh, the big thing, it really starts getting even more interesting whenever you start seeing these pictures up a little bit closer. And I think they were on here. Oh, they all have the ZR1 wheels too. So we know these are all ZR1s with the special side intakes as well. These pictures are not super high resolution until we get to the other ones, but you can see on the side here those extra side intakes. So you got the big side intake, and then right behind it where the boomerang point would finish on the ZR or Z06, it's kind of pressed in to allow air to go in there as well. Now, this was something I talked about in the video when we were talking about the ZR1 on my video on my channel. I don't understand what that particular intake is for, because a lot of people are going to say, well, that's for the turbos, but that's what the shoulder intakes were for on the back deck lid. And none of these cars have that intake there either. So this is kind of strange. This is almost like a different, slightly different design. I don't know if this is older or if it's newer. Now, like I said, guys, GM is constantly moving with these cars. They're constantly testing it out. They're constantly trying to perfect it. This car isn't locked in stone yet. So anything we see here may never actually make it to the production car. And those side intake or those shoulder intakes on the rear deck lid, they may have cut them out. They may not be there because they're not on any of these cars. Now, this image was the one where things start to really get interesting again, because the two that we're looking at here right in the front, neither one of them have dive planes. So again, we're not looking at the ZTK version of this car. But what's really interesting is if you look closely, it looks like we're looking at two completely different versions of the hood, um, of the heat exhaust on the hood, or the aerodynamic hood grill area. Man, I can't think of the word I was just using for that. Hood scoop. Yeah. So basically, it looks like two different hood scoops here. The one in the very front looks like it's kind of just sitting on top, whilst the one on the beside it looks like it goes down under the actual front as it comes up over. Now, I can see this being the case. I can see us having two different versions of this, because if you guys remember, whenever we saw this car on the Nürburgring back a couple months ago, one of the cars looked like it didn't have a center radiator. It still had the opening there, but it didn't look like it had the radiator. What my impression of that is that radiator is there. It's just laid further back and to allow the air to come through there, cool the radiator, but also come up over the car to push the front end down for aerodynamic purposes. Now, this one that we're looking at right in front of us here with a slightly different hood scoop, that one might just be a hood scoop and that's it. There might not be any kind of extra downforce provided. It might specifically just be for extra cooling. Now, the ZTK package for the ZR1 is specifically an aerodynamic package. So you're getting the big wing, the dive planes. You're probably going to get the stickier Cup 2R tires and maybe a slightly stiffer suspension. But for the most part, the biggest difference there is the extra aerodynamics. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, DBM Racing, is the ZTK package is the bigger of the two aero packages, and that gives you that big wing, the dive planes, and possibly in this case something different with the hood scoop. The hood scoop functions in a different way depending on whether you get the ZTK or the non-ZTK version of the car, because aerodynamics are the name of the game with the ZR1. So it could get really crazy here. From what I'm seeing, I mean, these are two very different looking hood scoops. Why would that be the case on the fact that both these cars have the ZR1 wheels? These are both ZR1 platforms as far as we can tell, but they have different hood scoops. So GM's testing out a bunch of this stuff, and it's really interesting to see this, because who knows which one of these comes to fruition, if either one. The missing side intakes could be a modified Z06. That's absolutely the case. I mean, these cars in general look like the bodies of the car are going to be very similar to the Z06. I have it on good authority. Um, Not that we can't already tell this, but somebody who makes parts for these cars flat out told me that the ZR1 body is going to be almost identical to the ZR6 body, minus your bigger wings and stuff like that. Other than that, the shape, the front bumper, and everything's going to be the same. So, and we're seeing that here. And so there's not really much to modify. The biggest difference with this car is going to be the aerodynamics and, of course, a twin turbocharged engine. Now, again, nobody that I have seen, nobody has even talked about the possibility of the ZTK or the ZR1 being a hybrid setup. That was something that was rumored way, way early, and it has been squashed since then because the twin turbo setup is killing the idea of an all-wheel drive setup on this car. So any of you guys out there who are thinking that the ZR1 was going to be the Z06 engine with the E-RAY front drive hybrid motor, that's not what's happening here. Now, I do think for the Zora, if they don't go fully electric with that, I do think the Zora is going to be the ZR1 engine with the hybrid front drive motor. That right there is going to give you your 1,000 horsepower. So that is definitely something that could happen. But these these aren't even really early spy shots. These are later than the spy shots we got from the Nürburgring, and a lot of the stuff is missing. So, like I said, I'm not sure if we're looking at an older car or a newer car from the one that was at the Nürburgring. That's the only problem. Because if these are the newer cars, then they're deleting a lot of this stuff. I see no side intakes or shoulder intakes on these cars anymore. So it's definitely weird. Yeah. Yeah. So that was the other thing is some people were thinking that the 2025 model year might bring a interior redesign, but one of these pictures, yeah, right here, you can pretty clearly see the infotainment system on the dash, and it's still angled towards the driver, which tells me the wall of buttons is still there. So this is going to be a 2025 model year, or it may even be a 2026, but either way, it doesn't look like it has an updated interior, which tells me either we're not getting an updated interior or they haven't bothered to update these yet because they are just test mules. It's very possible either one of those is the case. But this shot here gives us a really clear shot of the fact that there is no shoulder intakes, and that new kind of pressed in intake on the back part of the boomerang is very clear in this shot too. Now they could pull cool air from that pressed in spot on the boomerang for the turbo. They could pull air right there because the turbos are going to be really close to that area. But the big shoulder intakes on the back on the rear deck lid, that made more sense to me to pull air from there for the turbos. So this, I'm not really sure if, like, again, I'm not sure if we're looking at an older or a newer version of this car at this point. I think it would be really weird for them to delete those rear shoulder intakes. I think that feeding direct cold air directly into a turbo would be just an absolute awesome idea. But what do you guys think? I'm curious. Looks like we're at 128 thumbs ups, guys. If we could, it would be really cool to hit 100. We still got about 30 minutes left of this, so if you guys could please hit that thumbs up button, it really helps the channel. And we're obviously kind of dead in the middle of talking about the carbon or the ZR1, so feel free to join in if you guys are wanting to give your opinion on it, because at this point most of this is speculation. There's very little concrete information about this car out there right now, so let's talk about it. Yeah, that's very unlikely. There was one person I heard talking about that way back in the day, and the reason why is because if we look at this image here, I'll scroll up on this page, you can actually see what looks like a split in that window, but that's not what that is. Even on the very first C8 Stingrays that were camoed, they had that same thing, just a line down the center glass. It's not a split. It would make no sense to have a split in that window. None. Even if you were just trying to, you know, keep alive the whole split window thing, it still makes no sense because all of these cars now, whether you get a 1, 2, or 3 LZ or LT or ZR, it doesn't matter. You have the rear view camera. No one's even looking out that rear glass anymore. And I've seen some of the uh, renderings of a split window C8, and they're horrible looking. So I hope for everybody's sake that the split window thing doesn't happen, because it does not look good. New Horizon says the updated interior may be part of the tooling update they're doing at Bowling Green now. That and making fleet test vehicles for the ZR1. It is possible. And that's the thing is, like, I don't want to say without a doubt that an interior update's not coming. It just doesn't make sense. It seems like a really weird part to put your focus on whenever the cars aren't being produced fast enough. There's still over MSRP stuff happening. Why focus on the interior redesign when you could really just start focusing on ramping up production? Instead, you're going to no, and that's exactly what I was thinking too. It's like you're fixing something that's not broken
But it is
while
GM.
yeah, and they're doing it while having an issue delivering cars. Like focus on what matters. Focus on getting
Yeah.
these cars to their owners. Don't worry about the interior. The interior is not a problem in the car.
Mm-mm.
And like I said before, and I think someone corrected me and said the C4 there was a mid generation update of some kind. So the C4 would have been the last time that happened. The
Right.
C5, the C6, the C7, it there has been no mid-generational updates. So why would they do that with the C8 whenever they also have all these other problems to worry about?
Yeah. Don't they already have enough to deal with?
Right. And yeah, DBM racing, we've talked a lot about that here is if this imagine your Z06, which is roughly 3,700 pounds. Imagine that car at 3,100 pounds. And I mean, if they could do that, at that point, it doesn't even matter if you have 815 horsepower or if you have the 670 of the Z06. If that car weighs 3,100 pounds, it is a rocket. So the big thing that GM should focus on moving forward is weight. But at the same time, you guys got to understand, and I've commented this a couple times on my channel because somebody said that GM needs to make the tub out of carbon fiber, and other basic construction out of carbon fiber. Yes, they can do that, but your bottom line is going way up. I mean, the biggest
Yeah.
difference, really, the biggest difference between the C8 and like a Lamborghini, a Aventador, or not a Aventador, a Huracan, or specifically the McLarens. McLarens keep weight really low. Look at the difference in price. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for a lot of the difference in components because they're not using steel, they're not using aluminum, they're using lightweight carbon fiber, but that's a lot more expensive and a lot harder to shape and get to the point where it's structurally rigid enough that it provides a strong enough frame and tub to sit in, all this other stuff. And yeah, the Lego said it too. The price is going to skyrocket. It's going to go way up, but that's where they need to do. That's where they need to be. And GM's been really good at this in the past, where they'll make the car, like the Corvette in general, all of the body panels are composite. So a cross between fiberglass, carbon fiber, composite of some kind to keep weight down. Because if they didn't do that, if those body panels were all aluminum, you're looking at a 4,000-pound car easy. So GM has found a way to keep the price relatively low on composite panels. They'll find a way to keep it low on carbon fiber or even maybe composite of some degree for tubs and stuff too, to get the weight down and keep the price relatively low.
So I just looked up the weight of 3 different cars. I'm going to start with the fattest, the most overweight one, the Aventador Ultimate, 3,417 pounds. The F8 Tributo, 3,164.
Oh, wow.
This one blows my mind. The 765 LT.
Yeah. It's like 29.
2709. At
That
least
is
that's
insane.
what it says on Google.
So I think those are dry weights because I want to say okay, so the 765 I'm pretty sure was still just a hair under 3,000 pounds,
right?
Which is really crazy because the latest car that I ever drove, well, I shouldn't say drove, the latest car I've ever owned was actually a Cobalt SS. So I had a turbocharged Cobalt SS. That car weighed like 2,700 pounds, and you could tell that car weighed nothing. After a tune and some charge piping, I was putting almost 400 horsepower to the front wheels in that car. And of course, there's no weight on the front wheels, so that thing would just spin in a line. But you could feel that there was no weight to that. And what Jason's telling me is the 765 weighs almost the same as the Cobalt, which the Cobalt was a tiny car, and the 765 is a pretty big car. So how does McLaren keep that weight down? That's whatever they're doing, GM needs to find a way to do it cheaper.
Pretty sure they're cutting carbs.
Oh, I know on the 765 especially, there is a lot of stuff removed out of that car. So that car is built as a track slash just rocket ridiculous car. So when you get in it, you're not going to get in there and experience all the creature comforts. That's
Let
not
me
what this
see
car is
something.
for. I do love the 765 though, and I'm not a big fan of the 720S. I don't like the look of that car, but the 765 looks a million times better.
Let me see if I can.
Doug Smith, that's a great point too. He says to really lose weight, you have to make the car smaller. That was another thing. If you guys dig way back into my channel, way back like 3 or 4 years ago, all I did was talk about the fact that how much better the C8 Corvette would look if they got rid of the rear or the rear trunk back. So just end the car at the back of the engine. If they would do that, they would drop a little over a foot of length off the car, and you would easily drop probably 100, 200 extra pounds at that point too. So that would shorten up the car. You could then move the wheels, the rear wheels, a little bit more forward, and you would have an overall smaller car. Now they're not going to ever do this because they like to have their two golf club thing, but for performance and even looks, the car would perform and look way better if they would end it right at the engine and get rid of the trunk completely. Second Eclipse says I almost bought a 2020 600 LT. There's really only two McLarens I really like. The 765 LT and the other one was this was it the which one is it that Vehicle Virgins has? The purple one. I can never remember if it's a
600
it's a
LT.
it's a 600 LT. That's what I thought. So those are really the only two McLarens I really like.
So
And even then, McLaren just doesn't have a really great quality about them.
no, they don't, but they are great, good for if you need to have a fire. But this is one of the weight savings, the specific weight savings measure. This is the 765 LT. Include the titanium exhaust, a Formula One gray transmission materials, thinner glass, and motorsport polycarbonate glazing helped to reduce the weight.
Interesting. So titanium exhaust wouldn't really do much because it's already a mid-engine, so there's not a whole lot of weight in the exhaust setup anyway.
Right.
But
when you accumulate, various different things when you're cutting here and cutting there, that's where they were able to save weight.
And the big thing is with McLaren, what they did with the 765 to reduce weight was shave millimeters off of the glass.
Yeah.
Which I think is funny because if you guys look back at the C6 Z06, they did the same thing. They shaved millimeters off the glass. That's how serious people get about weight on these cars.
But
shaving millimeters of glass, you're talking probably less than a pound or two, but they're doing it.
But if I remember correctly, on the 600 LT, they had issues with the windows cracking the windshield.
Yes, they did. So Vehicle Virgins had that issue too, where if you take a turn and your car's like on an incline on one side but flat on the other, your windshield will crack because of how thin they are. I mean, there's pros and cons. There's trade-offs on this stuff. If you want a lightweight car, you're going to have trade-offs. Yeah, we're actually a little later on our live video than usual. Usually we're done by now. We had a little bit of problems getting started up, so we're on a little later than usual. But otherwise, we're always on Monday nights. Monday night, 7:30 is usually when we start.
My mom gave me permission to stay up past my bedtime. So. But I also want to take a quick second. I want to let everybody know the status of my carbon fiber tooth. It is on constraint. We're not going that route. But my regular tooth, I was so disappointed because I went to the dentist the other day and I'm like, thank God, finally I'm getting my new tooth. No, man, no. They tapped me on the head, said, go back home, boy. So what I had to do is they put in like some little fake tooth thing and they had to check the trajectory of the implant and all that. So it's going to be like, this was last week, so I have like 3 more weeks to go before it's in. So still hillbilly mode.
So that Corvette guy says, honestly, with how amazing the Z06 is on the track, is weight really an issue you think GM is fighting? 3,600 pounds isn't that crazy. So this is kind of a difficult question to answer because the answer is yes and no. 3,600 pounds isn't really that nuts whenever you think about how capable the car is. But when you imagine how much more capable it is at 500 pounds less, you'd have to drive the car at 31 and 36 to really feel the difference in what I'm talking about. But if you've driven a lighter weight car, you'll know what I mean. In heavy turns, you can feel that weight. So if they made that car just as it is now, only it weighed 3,100 pounds, it would be even crazier on the track. That's ultimately what I'm saying. It's not necessarily a make or break situation. I'm not saying, hey, don't buy this car because it weighs too much, because I absolutely love the C8 Z06. I think it's one of the best cars I've ever driven.
Yeah.
But it would be that much better if it was lighter weight.
You know, I watched a video a long time ago with Vehicle Versions where I think he was at McLaren or somewhere, I forget, but they had 100 pounds in a little wagon, like a child's wagon, and they had him pull it and then try to stop it. And he was like, wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot. You know what I mean?
that's exactly it.
So
Yep. And
it
that's only
does
100
make a
pounds.
difference.
100%. And now imagine that same exercise, only it's 500 pounds.
Yeah.
When you pull it, and it's going to be hard to pull, but once you pull it and you get it up to speed, now
Yeah.
stop with it. Or better yet, take a real hard turn with it. That
Right.
extra 500 pounds makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I have my model up here on the wall of my C8 Z06. I still own the car. I'm not going to get rid of it anytime soon, unless it would be for a ZR1. But I'm just saying the car is awesome. I love the car, but it would be that much better, 500 pounds less.
Yeah.
Michael McCurry says, what's the news on the DCT? I do want to talk about that real quick. The news is over on the Mid-Engine Corvette forum. It is that some 2021, that's specific, only 2021s are affected here. Dual clutch transmissions need reprogramming. So basically, you do have to go to the dealer and they have to literally reprogram the transmission controller because there was an issue with it. Now, there's a lot to read over here, but basically it says that some of the 2021s are going to need transmission control module reprogramming. The error in the module software could result in the active permanent status of diagnostic trouble code. So basically, you're going to have a check engine light come on, and it's really just something that needs to be programmed out. So if you do have a 2021, you should go to your dealership and see if they can fix it for you. Nothing too crazy here. I'm pretty sure, Michael, I'm pretty sure you don't have a 2021. If I remember right, yours is pretty new. So this really doesn't even apply to you anyway. Kirk Adams says, if GM can use magnesium for the block, transmission, and frame, they could bring weight down to 3,100. They could. The only problem with that is using magnesium in those situations is really dangerous because, like it or not, mid-engine architecture has a higher risk of fire than a front engine does. And when magnesium starts to burn, magnesium fires are hard to put out. So we then get into a situation similar to our prized electric vehicles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So magnesium on the block probably wouldn't happen. Probably wouldn't on the transmission either. Maybe it could on the frame, but if I had to guess, bringing the magnesium on the frame would be probably an issue for rigidity, because I don't think magnesium's quite as strong as steel. I could be way off on that. I've not researched that, but there is a reason that they don't do that now, and it's not, magnesium isn't significantly more than aluminum, so I'm thinking it's a fire issue. And yeah, so Explode says tire wear is a problem with 3,600 pounds, and the overall handling would improve a fair bit. So yes, if you guys haven't seen the electric vehicles, have the same problem. They have issue with tire wear because of how heavy they are. 3,600 pounds is significantly lighter than a lot of the electric vehicles that are pushing well into the 5,000 pound category, but it still ends up being an issue, and it wouldn't be as big of an issue if it was 500 pounds less. Protected Dad Prank says, thanks to DBM for sending a shirt to his son. It'll be here soon. Awesome, DBM. Thank you. Yeah, Tyler says he has magnesium wheels for a C5. Yep. And magnesium, it does well for weight reduction, but just like Professor Corvette said, magnesium burns. So I don't know that magnesium is the answer, but I don't know that necessarily carbon fiber is either at this point.
But you know, here's the other thing too. When you start getting into more expensive components, you're adding, you know, additional cost to an already expensive. I mean, I assume going to be a very expensive car. So that puts it
Yeah.
even further out of people like myself's hands.
Yeah, 100%. And that's ultimately what GM is doing right now. The car weighs 3,700 pounds for a reason. GM realized this is the best compromise. We can get the price to this point, but the weight's going to be at this point. If we decrease the weight anymore, the price is going to go up. And
Yeah.
how many of you guys out there love the idea of buying $150,000 Z06? Would you rather cost less? I'm sure you would. I know I would.
Yeah.
So if you want it to cost less, the higher weight, it's always going to be a thing. It's just that simple. At this point, the only thing the supercars or the exotic cars have over the Corvette is weight. That's it. It used to be horsepower. It's not anymore. It used to be interior quality. It's definitely not that anymore. It's the weight. A lot of the exotic cars, like we were talking about the McLarens, they weigh significantly less than the Corvette, and that's just the way it's going to be. Now, with and Doug Smith, that's only partially true. I know the name of my channel kind of, hints a certain way, but you can't really make up for overweight cars by throwing more horsepower at it. It's not quite that simple. You can kind of hide it, but just like Jason was saying, if you take that extra weight and you're pulling it and then you got to stop it, now you need bigger brakes, you need better brakes, you need more aerodynamics to help force you through a turn. And again, imagine if you did all that and the car weighed 500 pounds less. It's just a better car with less weight. NBA Live says I would pay $300K for a carbon body and carbon chassis ZR1. And you and probably 10 others, but that's where the issue lies. Chevy's not looking to make a one-off car. They're making mass-produced vehicles, and they can't mass-produce carbon fiber tubs and chassis. It's just, I mean, they can't even mass-produce freaking carbon fiber aero kits. So they're
Yeah.
definitely not going to be able to do it on a scale like that. Yeah, Vet Father, I was thinking that same thing. Is if you're creating the amount of horsepower you're creating, you definitely need new brakes.
That should have been in the build from
Yeah,
LMR.
definitely.
You know, even Brandon, White Hot Horsepower, I don't think he's on here tonight, but I know he was upgrading his brakes,
Yeah.
you know, because he was adding all the extra horsepower.
Yep. You definitely have to. And that's the thing, is it's not just brakes, your suspension, aero, all that stuff should be upgraded as you get more horsepower, because you need more of all of it. Guys, we got about 220 people watching and only 150 thumbs ups. So if you could please hit that thumbs up button, let us know you're liking the content. Thumbs ups all the way around. It would be awesome to end this one at 200 again. We're about 10 minutes away from the end, so let's try to smash that as hard as we can at this point. Elijah says, why don't they do fiberglass like the C5 and the C6? They do. So the C7 and the C8 is not fiberglass. They don't call it fiberglass, they call it composite, but ultimately it's a mixture of fiberglass, carbon fiber, resin material. It's not aluminum, so it's lighter weight. Let's see. Do we have anything else? So once again, guys, I saw something pop up about this. This is the giveaway for tonight. It is just like we're talking about carbon fiber. This is a carbon fiber waterfall cover for your console area there. It is real carbon fiber, so this isn't fake hydro dipped or anything. It's real carbon. Costs about $500 after shipping and everything. We're buying it. We would like to make at least $600 on this thing tonight, and we will give this away tonight if we hit 600. We are $145 away from making that happen. So if you guys want to get this thing given away tonight, we need $145 more to be donated, and then someone is walking out of here tonight with this item, or at least a ticket to it.
Not everybody all set up in here, man.
That's true. Yeah, don't make Jason do this all for nothing.
Yeah, I did this. Do you really want me to just have to text Steve and have him reset it up all on his? Come on.
Yeah, let's not do that to Steve. Steve,
No.
he deserves better. He's
He
been dealing with
does.
the HOA all night.
The vet father, I agree. Money was probably the reason why they didn't do it, but do you want your safety at risk for some extra money? I don't think so. And as the and I'm not knocking LMR, they're phenomenal. I met them and they're great, but I just feel like the right thing to do would be to tell people you really need to be upgrading your brakes. Unless I
Yeah.
misunderstood what you were talking about.
Well, that's the big thing is everybody who takes their car to, and it doesn't matter where, I'm not going to single out LMR.
Yeah, no,
Wherever you
because
take your car to add more power, nobody on this planet's looking at adding anything else but power. They just want
yeah,
they want their car to be faster. You don't really realize that you can actually make your car fast to the point where you're making it worse for like especially
yeah.
for track driving. So when your car's faster but you haven't touched the brakes, you haven't touched the suspension, you're probably worse on the track than a stock Stingray. And that's the sad reality of it is you need stiffer springs, you need bigger rotors, you need bigger calipers, better brakes, brake pads in general. I know, and it is a money thing. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying when you go to add more power, these are things that should be on your mind as well.
I think he's saying he ran out of money. That makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense.
yeah,
I can
no,
understand.
that's what he said. I ran out of money, and that's I get it.
Okay.
I get it. No, you don't have to do it all at once. It's just this stuff should be on your mind in the future. New Horizon says, and just imagine Zora adding the E-Ray electric motor up front. It will be more weight, but then we're looking at 1,000 horsepower. And that's,
Yeah.
again, you can't erase weight with horsepower. It doesn't quite work that way. Again, coming back to Jason's analogy with vehicle virgins. When you're pulling a little cart with 100 pounds in it, you get started, it's heavy at first, but then you get some momentum, then you're good. Now you got to stop it. And that's a lot harder to do than you think. Now imagine that on a scale of more like 5 to 800 pounds, especially with the Zora. The Zora is going to be well over 4,000 pounds unless they do something drastic to change the weight, because the E-Ray now is already, convertible E-Ray is already sitting right at 4,000 pounds. And that is a really heavy car. That's basically Camaro territory, older Camaro territory. They were right around 4,000 pounds. And if that's the case, what's the point of the Corvette? The Corvette was supposed to be a lighter weight, just as fast or faster Camaro for the most part. All right, man. We'll see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, racing cars is always going to be a wealthy sport because, I mean, when I went out to Ron Fellows a couple weeks ago, the first thing you realize is how insanely expensive it is to do that on a weekly, even a weekly basis, even a monthly basis. I mean, you're talking new tires all the time, new brake pads, new rotors, and if you have carbon ceramic rotors, which every one of the cars there at the time they all did, those are $2,000 a piece. You got to replace all four of them. That's a lot of money, and you're going to be doing that probably once every 6 months, 6 to 8 months, depending on how often you're going. Tires, like I said, um, all your fluid changes, your oil differential, well, I guess transmission in this car, coolant if it gets to be a problem, and God forbid you wreck, or even if you just brush something, like then you got to fix that. It's very expensive. Tech Speed says, what's the Z06 weight? Z06 weighs about 3,700 pounds. It's a little less than that, but it's right around there. That father says, my car is definitely heavier. I can feel it. I want to say at least 150 pounds. Yeah, I mean, you added, I don't know if you've ever picked up a relatively big turbo before, but they're not light. Like they're heavy because that's a big block of typically iron. I mean, it's got to be able to withstand some serious heat. Lego says that's why I don't track. Yeah, and I mean, I like to do it, and honestly, I'll probably do it once or twice a year, if that. And that's only because it is too expensive. You're just talking about absolutely ridiculous wear and tear on your car to the point where you're paying for it. So guys, I don't think we've gotten any more donations, but we still need 145 more to give this thing away tonight. If you guys are interested in winning this, it is a carbon fiber um, waterfall cover for the C8 Corvette. So anyone, Z06, E-Ray, Stingray, ZR1, if somehow you magically have one of those sitting around, it'll fit on any one of them. And we can have it set up so you get the one for a convertible or a coupe. It will fit either one of those as well.
Let me see if he's still on here
Yeah.
to deny it.
Yeah, to not.
Yeah, he's still on. I thought he was going to go watch his paint dry. I don't know, or something.
What is the heaviest part in the new Z06? I mean, the heaviest part in any car is usually the engine. But I want to say when they were talking about the Z06 engine, the weight increase from the Stingray engine was very, very, very minute. But yeah, it's always the engine. Outside of the engine, you're probably the transmission isn't real light either. So those two things by themselves are probably a good portion of the weight of the car. But Tech Speed says, keep up the good work. Running late. Please start without me. Okay, we'll do that. $10. Thanks for the donation. We'll get you in for an entry. Yeah, Lego. That's where I'm at with it. He says I would love to track it, but then I'd be addicted, and I don't have that kind of cash. That's what happened at Ron Fellows. I really love the idea of doing that, but it's like you really do have to be rich to be able to do that at a, even a relatively normal occurrence. Yeah, NBA says the Z06 engine is 2 pounds heavier than the LT2. That's really something by itself. Again, guys, if you haven't seen it, the giveaway for tonight is the carbon fiber waterfall. We need $145 more to give this away tonight. But if you don't have a car that it will work on, you can also check out the link in the description down below where you can win a C8 Corvette Z06 plus 20 grand, as well as benefit multiple sclerosis in the MS Solutions. This is a charity-based giveaway. So even if you don't win, you're still donating to a good charity. Now, you will get 25% more entries if you use the link in the description down below. You'll get an extra 5 tickets for free if you donate $25. Or if the Z06 isn't your thing, check out the other one, which is this. It is a 2024 Corvette E-RAY. If you want to try to get the E-RAY instead, it's the same kind of thing. You will get additional tickets just for using the link in the description down below. But yeah, so guys, I'm curious. I know we've been talking a lot about this, but how many of you, and actually this is a poll. This is a poll question. I'm going to start a poll. How many of you are interested in a ZR1, a C8 Corvette ZR1? Would you be able to buy it if the price of the car was $200,000 plus? Is this something that you would realistically do? I'm not saying can you do it. I'm saying would you do it at $200,000? All right. So would you buy a C8 Corvette ZR1 if the price is $200,000 plus? Here's the poll. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys, because again, we've been talking a lot about the weight of the car in this segment tonight, but if you want that to change, the only way that changes is if that price goes up. So it could be realistically mid 200s at least if they really start working on getting that weight down. Turbo says I could buy it up to around 225, and that's the thing is if you max out the car, so option it out, I think it's going to max out probably around 230. So 225, you're getting a pretty good build.
I'm kind of surprised Matt Hurley said yes. That wasn't a surprise in the least.
Right. I'm thinking the majority of people, and actually the numbers aren't saying that so far, but the majority of the people are going to say no to this because it is a really expensive car. And even if you have the money, you could be a rich person and you have the money. Do you want to spend 200 plus on a Corvette? I mean, I love Corvettes, but at some point it's crossing a line. It's crossing over into exotic supercar territory. Bruno says yes, and I'd eat bologna sandwiches. Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd have to live in the car for sure, so I get it. All right, guys. So we still need that 145 to give this thing away tonight. Otherwise, we're going to push it to next Monday night. Yeah, MSRP is definitely key. I'm just, I'm putting the price out there as we'll say you found one at MSRP and it's going to cost you 200,000 plus. Is that something you would be willing to do? Steve Robertson says, I was all in for my Z06 for around 200. I'm not doing that again. Yeah, I'm pretty close there with you, but
Dr. Corvette's in, but he doesn't want 1, he wants 7.
Actually, I think the number was 10 last time we talked about it. But
Golly.
Yeah,
Thomas Downey makes a good point.
Who's that?
Thomas Downey. Trucks are 100K plus. That's not wrong either.
Every vehicles in general are up nowadays, but
insane.
Darren Burnett actually has a good point here too. He says, Justin and I have discussed at 200,000, it's still a Corvette, and at this point, it's on a 5-year-old platform. Like,
I'm with him.
Yeah, like that's a good point. So not only are you spending that much money on a Corvette, but it's also not far away from being outdated because the C9 is going to come out. It's going to have a better chassis. It always does. They always improve the chassis stiffness specifically.
Did you read Steve's comment?
Oh my God. I don't even know what to say about that. Out of you and Steve, Jason, which one's older?
Steve.
So the oldest one in this group is also the most childish.
Yep.
Oh God, I love it.
He's not older by much, like a year and a half, something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't. Even if it's a day, he's still technically the oldest.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to end this. It looks like 65 votes and 55% say no. So 32, 33 of you say no. I don't know. I'm not that great at math, but that's actually a surprising amount of people saying yes. So at 200,000 plus, that many of you would pay that amount of money for this car. That's interesting. Now, again, don't get me wrong. The C8 ZR1 is going to be an absolute monster. Based on what I can tell, they're making all the right moves. The car is going to have a bunch of power. It's going to have a lot of cooling aspect. Twin turbos will be the first time ever in a Corvette. It's going to be cool. But is it going to be worth 200,000 plus? Because, I mean, like I said, maxed out, you check every box, you're going to be at least 220. DBM Racing, I don't know about that. He says it'll never lose value over time. Normally, I would agree because the ZR1 typically is the top dog, and that's usually the one that carries the most value. But this generation, the top dog is very likely to be the Zora, not the ZR1. And if that's the case, the ZR1 is going to fall down as, not the king of the hill anymore. Maybe it doesn't carry its value anymore. That's a good point. Bruno says, don't be car poor. I've always heard don't be house poor, but lately it's been cars. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point, what Chevy's making with these Corvettes, they basically are race cars. Darren Burnett, I doubt that that's going to be the case because I don't think, based on what I've read about the C7 ZR1, that car wasn't even supposed to be a 1-year run either. That just ended up happening because of how fast they were able to get to the C8. That was originally supposed to be at least a 2-year run. I've heard a bunch of people talk about that before. And if that's the case, the C8 ZR1, if it comes out in 25 or even 26, you're 4 years or so away from the end of the C8. It's definitely not going to be a 1-year run. The Zora could be. There's a good chance the Zora, if I had to guess, if the ZR1 comes out and it starts at 140, 150 and maxes out around 220, then I would say the Zora price starts at 200. All right, let's see. Do we get any more donations here, guys? No more donations. Let's see what we got. Thumbs ups. We got 182. Let's smash that thumbs ups, guys. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to give this thing away tonight, so let's at least get some thumbs ups going on. It would be really cool if we could hit even close to 200.
What are we at now? I guess show 183. Is that updated?
183. Yep.
Okay.
We got 17 more. 17 more. You guys can't hit 17 thumbs ups. It'd be really cool. I love the idea of ending these with 200 because it really, really helps the channel, guys. Yeah. Yeah, so the C7 ZR1 right now is bringing 200 plus if it's a manual and around 160 to 180 if it's an auto. So again, that's because that car had a really, really small production number and it only ran for a year. So they made, I think, 2,800 of them. And of those 2,800, 30% were manuals. So if you have a manual ZR1 ZTK package car, you have a pretty rare car. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Thomas Downey says that it sucks they keep closing all the drag strips. And I've noticed that too. A lot of them, drag strips and racetracks in general, are getting closed down a lot. It's because it's so expensive. It's so pricey to put your car out there. And then even if you can figure out a way to do it, then you got all the people that complain about it. What was it? The Laguna Seca, I think it was, that people were just complaining about recently. Because the houses that are anywhere near it, you know, when they're having events there, all they hear is the cars. And it's like, you're the one that bought a house near a racetrack. Like, why is that the racetrack's fault? That's
Do they
your fault.
complain to the airport when they move by an airport? Your planes are going off all day long. Well,
I bet you they probably do. And that's the sad part of it. But it's like, we should just ignore these people because the people that are going to the track and racing their cars, they're doing it the right way. Yeah. You can race your car on the street too. It's a lot less safe. It's way more dangerous, way more illegal. The people going to the track are doing it the right way, so leave them alone. Yeah. They're having fun. Dr. Corvette says the Zora will be very limited. I think so as well. It's going to be just as limited, if not more, than the 1901. 192, guys. We need 8 more thumbs ups. We got to get 8. There's no way we can't get 8 more. 8 more thumbs ups, guys. It helps the channel a lot. Okay, that's good. Gen X Vet says the guy that's been complaining about Laguna Seca has been doing so for the last 20 years. Good. We need to ignore him because that's just ridiculous. It's absolutely
ridiculous.
Him
on call block.
I would. I would just block his number.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember DBM says, look at Cletus's struggle with their track. He did. He had a problem, but from what I can tell, he won out on that, which is great. Because again, when people are doing it on the track, they're doing it legally. They're doing it for fun. They're doing all the right things. Why are you going to try to punish them?
Right.
And that's the thing is if they close up the tracks, then yes, you're going to see more people street racing. And that's going to lead to more crashes, more accidents, more people killed for no reason when they could go to the track, but not if they're closing them up.
They get mad that they're racing on the street, so they open a track, then they complain that it's too loud. It's like, dude.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. Gen X says that he dares 8 people to hit thumbs up. Ooh, we're down to 4. We need 4 more. So we only got to dare 4 people now. Yeah, Doug Smith says Ron Fellows is building houses around the track. That's what we stay in. You stay in the condos that are built around the track. Someone owns that condo. So literally, someone comes in there, and right below the condo is their garage.
Yep.
They come in there, they whenever they want, they come in, they decide they're going to spend the weekend. They can go open up their garage door and literally drive their car right out onto the track and have a nice track day. That is how the other half lives. That's that simple.
When I was there last time, they told me somebody there had a P1. I was like, holy.
I would be insanely scared to take one of those on the track. I feel like just hitting a pebble and hearing it hit on the car somewhere. Oh, I just lost $1 million. Yeah. Yeah. And Steve Robertson says they can convert the closed airports to drag strips.
That would be awesome.
They can. And there's actually an airport somewhere near me here that's small enough that every now and then, if there's no planes coming in and out, they actually rent the airport out as a drag strip.
Well, there's one. I wish New Horizon was still on here. There's one out in Weatherford, not terribly far from me. That, or actually, it's not Weatherford. I think it's Mineral Wells. It's a closed down airstrip, and they have people that do autocross out there and things like that. So I kind of want to go see what kind of condition the concrete's in.
That is one thing to keep in mind is with the closed up airports, the concrete gets bad pretty quick.
Yep.
And usually the closed drag strips that I've seen, usually they get closed because of stuff like that. There's people don't have the
All
money
that
to put into the
maintenance.
maintenance.
Well,
Yeah.
200.
We hit 200? Yes, we
Yep.
did. Guys, 2 weeks in a row, 200. That is fantastic. Thank you guys all so much. I
And
think we're going to
started
wrap.
late, had technical
We
issues, and still hit 200.
we
01.
did. You guys are awesome tonight. We hit a good bit of them on the donations. We need $145 more that we'll probably hit next week for sure. Like I said before, guys, if you donated today, it will carry over to next week as well. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. We hit 200 thumbs up. So that's insane. You guys are awesome. Uh, Donations are up as always. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. We're gonna head out though. I think we're at our little over our hour. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week.